What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. And today we've got a good one lined up for you, but we're going to be talking very heavily about what the next couple of weeks look like for Bitcoin. Are we not bearish enough? We have been talking about lower prices coming in. We've got some big predictions from two top analysts saying that much lower prices are coming in for Bitcoin, and you should be prepared. However, we're back into extreme fear. And even though a lot of people are going to think that that might be a negative thing, I mean, if you hear extreme fear, the fear and greed is extremely low, wouldn't that be a bad thing? Well, we're going to explain to you why it's actually not necessarily the worst thing in the world, and why we could be potentially, I know this sounds counterintuitive because I just said we could go lower, but also why the bottom might be closer than you think. There's a lot to dive into and unpack and converse about. We got to check out the charts, check out the news. Stick with us the whole time. Make sure to smash the like button and hit subscribe if you enjoy the episode. But first, let's roll the intro. T-Shroom. How are you feeling today?
Better than I deserve, Tim.
Good.
Better than I deserve. How are you feeling?
I feel good. I sometimes these conferences will take it out of you.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to getting some sleep this weekend because I did not get a lot of sleep. And I forgot to grab water. Massive mistake here. And I'm going to clear my throat right there. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I don't need your water. Don't give me your water. You said you were feeling bad. I don't need to.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to make you sick.
I don't need to get that. As a whole, though, I thought the conference was really good in terms of thinking and just meeting with some new people.
Yep.
Made some great new connections. Explored outside the box. And again, I'm a little physically tired, but I don't feel too drained, other than I miss my family. That's the worst part about these conferences. Cannot wait to get home and see Brody and my wife Taylor if they're watching. Love you. I'll see you guys tonight. With that said, though, we got to get in here, T-Shirt. We've got a lot to unpack. I'm looking forward to how conversation goes. I'm looking forward to seeing how chat engages as well.
Yep.
Let's get this out of the way early.
Yep.
People hate the could go up, could go downs.
They do.
All right?
They hate it.
But here's what I'll tell you guys. Today's going to be a little bit of a could go up, could go down. We are not going to stick our heads in one direction and refuse to look at the opposite, right? That is how every great investor and great trader operates, though. You are always prepared for the markets to move in either direction. I will give you my opinion about which one I think is more likely, but I'm going to prepare you guys for both of them, so stick around for the whole thing. Let's start off with the bubbles here, T-Shroom. And surprisingly, actually, despite the big dips that happened, we have a lot of green here this morning, last 24 hours. Sui is up 8%. Jasmy's up 6%. So those are two ones that we definitely here in the Bros community have taken a liking to. Toncoin's up 3%. Sats, now this one's not in our community necessarily, but Sats up 5.6. But as a whole, there's a couple red ones in here, such as Aave and Eagle, but that's okay. Aave's been on a little run. Anything that's been on a little bit of a run to the upside, it's got to be coming back down. Check this out, T-Shirt. I don't know if this was like this yesterday.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Poll. Now there's two of this is actually kind of confusing.
Uh-oh.
Let me bring this up here. Matic still exists here as well.
I'm
with
confused.
There's a migration happening right now. So this is why they both exist right now, is because there's a migration happening. If you own Matic on Coinbase, they're doing it all of it for you. I don't know about other exchanges, so make sure if you have Matic, you're aware of your exchange's details. But there's a migration happening from Matic into their new ticker, POL, short for Polygon. They're going to try to keep it simple for people, but interesting to see that right there. Let's get into before we go into the charts. Let's cover the big economic data here,
Yep.
T-Shroom. The big ones on the day, non-farm payroll and unemployment rate. Now, before we take a look at this and break this down, this was part of what we're going to talk about later with those large analysts. They kind of were looking at this data, making a prediction of what it would look like, and then they gave their take. We'll address, were they right, were they wrong? Does this change their perception of their prediction? But do you want to cover the numbers there? Go break it down. What was happening here?
Yeah. So the big one is U.S. unemployment rate printed 4.2%. The expectation was 4.2. That's going to be a big breath of fresh air to U.S. equities that are reliant on folks to come in and buy stuff. Right? Think Walmart, think Amazon as well. But this is good news in the labor market, which can sometimes translate to bad news for the Fed and for risk assets. Put simply, I think it's going to be fine. I think we're still going to get a 25 basis point cut in September, but this was a neutral print from the Fed's perspective. Getting down into the granular details, non-farm payrolls printed at 142,000. And the previous was 89K. The consensus and forecast were really out of sync here. The consensus was 160K. The forecast was 120K. So it actually missed on the consensus but beat the forecast. Riddle me that one.
Yeah.
The important data point I think here is that it completely smashed the previous. So that's bullish.
And same thing with unemployment rate. You guys can see there, even though we were expecting, the consensus was 4.2, forecast 4.3, not a big deal. But the previous was 4.3. And what that means, and that communicates, is that that scare we had last month, that potentially unemployment was getting out of control, is not necessarily as bad as we thought.
Quelled.
From the data standpoint. We say this all the time, and I know because there's a lot of people out there listening right now saying, don't fall for the lies. These are the fake numbers. They're not telling us the truth.
That's right.
And you're probably right. These probably are fake numbers. However, these are the numbers that affect people like Jerome Powell and the Fed on if they're going to cut rates. And real quickly, we got to check that out. Now, this is something I'm going to say. I'll go ahead and leak this. I'm going to be a little more bullish today. I don't know if the bottom's in yet. I think that we're going to pull down. I'm just not as bearish as some of the analysts you'll see here that we break down their opinions. But I don't like this, T-shirt. Go to my screen. We are now predicting a 59% likelihood on CME futures that we will get 50 basis point cut over 25. Now, the reason this is something I don't like is I have said on here that I believe a 50 basis point cut would signal that the Fed is scared of recession, that this is a massive response to something rather than saying, you know what, we're in a good spot, but let's prevent something bad happening. Let's go. My opinion to this point has been 25 basis points are good. That just signals potential soft landing. We're going to be okay.
Yep.
50 basis points communicates, we might have overreacted here and been too late on these rate cuts. We need to make up for some lost time. But there's still a I could be wrong. We could be. I think you agree with me. I hope I'm wrong if that's the case. Yep. And 50 basis points still brings a massive spike to Bitcoin. But that's where, when you hear the people talk about the historical precedence of rate cuts aligning with crashes in the markets, it's because the markets or the Fed was cutting in fear and because of a recession, not to prevent one. And that's my concern at this moment. We're going to have to continue to monitor this as it goes forward. We got a long time still. We have, a week and a half until we actually hear from Jerome Powell. The CME futures doesn't get necessarily everything right, but it's usually got a good idea of it. Yep. Before we go to the charts, you wanted to chime in there. What were your thoughts?
Well, it's in sync with a move here on the betting markets as well. Fed interest rate in September is now, that's come up 38%. For a 50 basis point hike. 25 is now cruising. It's come down at 60%.
But that's still, Polygon is still saying the highest
Polymarket. Right.
Polygon, Polymarket, all these polys in here. Polymarket is still saying the highest probability is 25, right?
Definitely.
CME futures now predicting 59% 50 basis points, 41% 25 basis points. So this is going to be very interesting to watch over the next week and a half.
The point is,
and what that means.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible for these instruments to be precise and accurate. What's important is the directionality here. Yeah. And what we've seen over the last 24 hours is a stark directionality move towards a 50 basis point cut. Now, don't get it twisted. In every single day of the week, every hour of the day, a rate cut is bullish for asset markets, right? We covered this at length in our channel, so I'm just going to go through it quickly. Rate cuts are bullish. They increase the velocity of money. They make money cheaper. When that happens, risk assets go higher because there's more money to chase those assets, right? And they want to get out of the inflating dollar that's inflating quicker. I'll leave it there. Yeah, you can do more research for yourself, but we're bullish on a rate cut. But like Tim said, the psychological impact of a 50 basis point rate cut, even though categorically and objectively it's even more bullish than a 25 basis cut. It sends a psychological signal that can be interpreted in the short term by risk asset markets as bearish.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and transition here. Let's get into the charts and let's take a look at what they are saying, and then we'll break into some of these news and predictions made by some of these analysts. It's bullish morning, right? So we get these bullish numbers. We get the unemployment rate is lower. It came in as expected, but lower than last month. The non-farm payroll is better than last month, and then you can make your mixed opinion on, is it missing the expectation, is it not? Either way, it's up, right? Communicating people are being paid. And so Bitcoin, definitely in the crypto market as a whole, you'll see a sea of green here in the percentage movements. It jumped higher than last night's rally. That's a good sign on a small time frame that we broke a lower high and lower low trend that's been in play since this high here on the 4th around 1 p.m. But this doesn't necessarily put us out of the woods. Let's take a look on the 1 hour chart of what we're kind of running into right now. We're coming back up towards the 1 hour smart trail. We do have a take profit all the way up here, back at 58,270, back at resistance. And this is going to kind of line up with the 4 hours chart smart trail. If you guys don't know what a smart trail is, this is attached to the Lux Algo Premium Indicator Package, the best trading package in the world. If you're newer to trading but you want to be successful, Lux Algo is the play. This is a major level of resistance on different time frames. I talked about this yesterday, that we could rally back up to these levels. The question I have, though, however, T-Shroom, as we're looking at the smart trail on the 1 hour, I think it's much more likely to reject there instead of hitting the take profit, and I'll explain why that is. Let's take a look at our oscillators. Let me turn, well, we'll leave those up there just so we can see the resistance level. The 4 hour chart is printing something that is bullish, but it's not what people think. Some people are going to say, Tim, is this your strategy, your bullish entry strategy, with the money flow now going positive on the 4 hour chart? We've had green reversals, we have bullish momentum. Is this a buy signal? And the answer, unfortunately, is no. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean we can't go up, but I'm saying if anyone follows my trading strategy of saying I want to see 1, a green reversal, number 2, bullish momentum, and number 3, our money flow going back positive, this doesn't make it. And the reason why is I tell people I have a kind of rule here based on my back testing that all 3 of these need to happen within 12 candles, right? So let's go look at what this pattern has been since the first signal flash, that being the reversal. That happened way back here on the 4th on the 4 hour chart. And we are now, as we're getting this bullish flash in the money flow, 14 candles past the first flash, which means we didn't get the trifecta of signals within the right time for this to be a potent buy signal. But even better, I always like to also take a look at, all right, the 4 hour chart has positive money flow, but what about, let's look at the 2 hour chart. The 2 hour chart is positive money flow. I like this, but again, we're not necessarily seeing anything crazy. There's a small buy signal actually on the 2 hour chart. I will say to confirm there. But what I don't like here, T-Shroom, is the 1 hour chart. Remember I told you the 1 hour chart has it has the level of smart trail right above us, but look at the negative money flow here. This is not comforting to me. I would like to see the 1 hour also be bullish to feel more confident about that 4 hour money flow going positive. Ultimately, I think that we have not exited. I don't think this news today has put an end to this choppy sideways action. Let's turn off the indicators here for a second and just look at the charts here. We have been choppy and sideways for, depending on what your time frame is, you could go all the way back here to March, when we hit the all-time highs, and then we've just been slowly setting lower highs and lower lows in a very sideways fashion. You've been very choppy here over the last couple of months, and then here over the last couple of days, we are putting ourselves into a descending channel. Now, this descending channel, this is a lower high, lower low. You guys see the green and red parallel lines right here. This is a bullish formation. This is one that will break to the upside eventually, or let me change that word from will to should. Technical analysis is not a 100% guarantee, but it's a high probability that we should break to the upside based off this formation. But that doesn't mean that the bottom is not in yet, and then we have to go back here and look at something we've been looking at daily now, and that is liquidations. You'll see on the 3 daily chart, we got some bright yellow down here below 55,000, and you'll see it more clearly when I switch to the 12-hour chart. This bright yellow spot coming in here on 54,900 T-Shroom is levels where long positions, people who are buying and leveraging their long positions, if we go to this level, they will be liquidated. And because we are so close, it makes the most sense to go that direction. When you look above us, Do you really see anything exciting up above us? Any reason why traders should keep pushing to get rid of some shorts and get some liquidations that help build momentum? The answer is no right now in the short term. If I were to go to like a longer time frame, if I were to go to like the 1 month or 3 month, we'll find a lot of liquidations sitting up above us, which is why, if this will load for us, I remain long-term. I'm surprised there's not more than that. But you have some here at 60 and at 63, and if I go to longer time frames, and it's going to load again, 70,000 has some interesting stuff there. It's why I remain, there we go, look up there, bullish over the next couple of months. I still am in the boat that I think September closes in the green, in the positive. That doesn't mean, though, I'm positive for the next day or two, the next 3 days. I still think that there's kind of this move that we have to break 255 or lower, and one of the reasons why is, again, pulling up that Luxalgo indicator. If any of you guys are ever wondering, like, man, I don't know where to buy, Luxalgo's got you. I don't know where to take profit or set my stop losses. Some of you don't even know what take profits or stop losses are. That's all right. You will learn the more and more you watch here, or if you join our VIP trading group, we teach all of this kind of stuff. But this indicator gives us take profit suggestions, and there's confluence right now, T-Shroom, between both the 4-hour and the 12-hour, both saying right below 55,000, right where that liquidation level was that we were just looking at here a couple of minutes ago. This is all saying that Bitcoin probably has not bottomed out right here. And so this is, I think, a good transition right now. We have some positive news. We're pumping this morning, but we have some resistance sitting right above us. Let's talk about some predictions that expert analysts are making. We have two of them, both I respect heavily, but I have some observations about them. We're going to have a prediction from Peter Brandt. We're going to have a prediction from Arthur Hayes. We're also going to have a more bullish prediction from Michael Van de Poppe, but I'm not even going to interrupt. Let's just go through them. Let's read the headlines. Let's read their predictions, and then we'll break it all down afterwards, what the bro's opinion on all of those thoughts are.
Absolutely. And while we're going through this data, go ahead and drop a 1 in the live chat if you missed the 3 p.m. streams. We've enjoyed doing the 9 a.m. streams here, but we do miss our 3 p.m. bros. Drop a 1 in chat. Let's dive into it here. From Peter Brandt, this is called an inverted expanding triangle or a megaphone. Mm-hmm. A test of the lower boundary would be to 46,000 or so. A massive thrust into the new all-time highs is required to get this bull market back on track. Bitcoin selling is stronger than buying in this pattern, the pattern he's speaking of right here. We've just gone through it in depth on the charts. And then on Forbes.com, Goldman Sachs issues a huge Fed crash warning as a legendary trader suddenly flips his Bitcoin price prediction. This is Arthur Hayes. Goldman Sachs analysts have issued a warning that this week's closely watched job numbers could spark a stock market crash, while legendary Bitcoin trader Arthur Hayes has admitted his previous Bitcoin prediction was wrong. Let's get to those details. A market correction may start to get traction if payrolls are weak on Friday, said Scott Rubner of Goldman Sachs, managing director of global markets and tactical specialist at Goldman Sachs, wrote in his to a note to his client. So Goldman's analysts are bracing for impact. And here's Arthur's take. He said, "I've changed my mind, but it doesn't affect my positioning at all." Hayes, who started a family office called Maelstrom Maelstrom after leaving the BitMEX crypto derivatives pioneer, wrote in a blog post, Hayes had predicted a new Bitcoin price bull run would begin in September as the Federal Reserve, U.S. Treasury, and China all turned to their liquidity taps. I expected intervention to begin in late September, Hayes wrote. Between now and then, Bitcoin at best will chop around those levels and at worst, slowly leak lower towards 50K. Hayes' new Bitcoin prediction reflects a bearish warning from analysts with Bitfinex this week who said they could see the Bitcoin price fall as low as 40,000 in the short term. So we're getting some bearish predictions here, and it doesn't stop there. Let's go ahead and pile on the last bit of data here. Brace yourselves. U.S. Bitcoin ETF hit 7-day losing streak. Outflows surpass 1 billion. We're asking, why are we going lower here? Well, Fidelity's Wise Origin FBTC led the capital exit, not Grayscale's ETF. Approximately 374 million left FBTC over those 7 days, while GBTC posted 227 million in outflows. And here's the big one. The world's largest Bitcoin ETF, BlackRock's iShares IBIT, saw its second ever outflow since January launch, with investors withdrawing $13.5 million on August 29th. That's million, not billion. IBIT has reported zero flows on other days during this stretch. So, this is definitely a bearish chapter here in this sideways movement.
We're gonna address this more because there's more articles. I want to get into Michael Van de Poppe.
Yeah.
Pay attention though. So first of all, second only. That's a key phrase there for BlackRock. 13.5 million. That's not necessarily a lot of money when you compare it to the others. And the other one is August 29th. That wasn't yesterday. BlackRock was losing money. It was August 29th. All those key factors I want people to kind of put a pin in and think about. We're going to come back here in a couple minutes. But let's flip the script. These are the bearish thoughts right now. Let's get into potentially the positive thoughts. Michael Van de Poppe lays this out for us, why we could have seen the bottom flash before us over the last couple of days.
Yeah, so expert sees Bitcoin surge ahead as U.S. economy falters. This basically is thesis, if you're tracking, is that this could be the Bitcoin moment. The details are here. Bitcoin's role in financial markets. Van de Poppe asserts that Bitcoin will play a key role as a safe haven asset. He compares Bitcoin's potential performance to gold's rise during the 1930s, noting that Bitcoin's 4-year cycle is consistent with historical trends. In his view, Bitcoin's surge could align with a broader downturn in equity markets driven by increased uncertainty surrounding the U.S. financial system. So that's Van de Pompe's take there, and that's what analysts are saying. Just to throw in another ingredient in today's analysis soup, 1.7 billion in Bitcoin and Ethereum options expire today. So it's going to be later tonight, I believe 6 or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when that takes place. Oh. So yeah. So Tim, tell me.
Hold on. We got to. You can come back later, please. Thank you. All right, that's fun. We almost had a guest on the show.
Yeah, and that was the very last ingredient to the analysis soup, is that we were interrupted by the room service here in the hotel room that we're staying in the great city of Dallas, Texas.
Real quick, let me also address chat. Love you guys in chat. Al Bundles, KJM, love you guys. Let's keep chat respectful, though. Even if you disagree with somebody politically and you don't want to vote for them, let's keep it respectful. Just want to keep this a nice family-friendly show, family-friendly chat. Love you guys. Keep commenting. Keep it.
What politically
nice.
is even going on? I mean, I don't even know.
I don't even know why people care about politics at this point.
What's going on with politics right now? I don't even know. There's probably an election somewhere in the world.
Somewhere.
I don't know.
Somewhere out there.
But Tim, what do you make all this? You have some guys on the bearish side.
Yeah.
You've got Van de Pompe, who's done very well. He's called some pretty big movements before, kind of saying, hey, wait, this could be Bitcoin's moment. And I know where I side, but I want to get your take.
So remember, we started the show. I told everyone there's going to be a level of conversation here that could go up, could go down. I want to make sure everyone understands. While these are very opposite opinions, even the two bearish ones, they differ in their levels of how far it goes, right? So there's not all three of them in confluence, but they're all very intelligent people, and they all have very constructed, well thought out reasons for why they say what they say, but they can't all be right. Right, that's what we got to understand. They can't all be right. So who's going to be right, who's going to be wrong? We're going to break all that down. Let's start on the side of the negativity. And I want to start with Peter Brandt. I've said it before. Peter Brandt is one of my favorite technical analysts to follow and watch. I highly recommend people pay attention and listen to him. That being said, that doesn't mean he's always right. He doesn't profess to always be right. And in fact, he put a tweet out a couple weeks ago that I want to remind people of if they're listening to this and saying, did Peter Brandt just guarantee us that we're going to 46K? No, he didn't. Even though it sounds like that, he didn't. And the reason why is because he made a very big deal about saying, when I'm doing technical analysis, I have to explore the possibilities and make sure I have a plan put in place for those possibilities. Probabilities are not as big of a deal to me. I need to be aware of what could happen. And in this case, what he's saying is, based off of those support lines and based off things he's seeing, 46K is possible. Now, I don't have my lines drawn the same as his. Let's go to my chart real quick and address this. For some reason, he has his connected to the bottom of this wick, and there were several touches in here. Maybe it's, you know what it is, T-Shroom? I'm going to redraw this. Let's draw, this green line is going to be mine line. Let's draw a Peter Brandt line. I think actually what he's doing was touching this one right here, and we're going to change this one to orange. Peter Brandt gets orange here. So I think this is the trend line he's watching, and what he's saying is, all right, guys, if we pull back down, guess where we would Guess where the price of Bitcoin would be if we came back down and touched this orange line again if we get really bad job numbers on Friday? 46K. That's where it lines up right there. On the weekly chart, I want to make sure you guys understand the significance of this. I'm going to pull back up one of our indicators here from Lux Algo. This is what we call a bullish breaker block. It's a former level of major resistance that we broke through back in February. And there's a possibility we pull back down to that level, and this is a very strong level of support. So let me go back here and say, Peter Brandt, your levels are well thought out. There's major support at 46K, and if we had really bad news, or let's just say over the next couple of days we have bad news and the market's beginning to crash, this is what people need to understand. If nothing bad happens, these prices probably don't happen. But if there is some form of bad news, if the job numbers have been bad today, or if something else happens over the weekend that is bad, you should be looking at 46K as the next level of major support. That's how that works. It doesn't mean it's a guarantee. And as you go back to my chart here, T-Shreem, I think the much more interesting trend is my green line here. Yeah, we had a wick come down below, but right here, there's a couple different things in play around 50,000, give or take. Let's call it 51,000. And I'm not saying we have to drop to 51,000. I think we drop a little bit before 55, but the reason I don't think 51,000 is lost is the daily chart has a major order block, a major level of where bears will be exhausted and bulls will want to buy. It is the support level of another trend line, my green line right here, where you can see 1, 2, 3, and then 4 touches. We just had a wick go a little bit lower. And then also, when you kind of get into this area, you guys, and this might be hard to see. Let me make this line a little bit bigger.
I can see it.
But I want to make sure they see it. I'm going to 4. You guys see that massive white dotted line I just brought up?
Yeah.
This is a major trend line that goes back a very, very long time. And let me turn off Lux Algo so it's a little not so messy. You can see here this trend line has been used as support,
wow,
resistance, support. This trend line goes back all the way back here to a peak in August of 2017 and has been a major deciding point of support and resistance. I believe that we can stay above that dotted line, and guess where we're going to kind of run into it? Right there around that $51,000 mark. So while I am not even saying we have to hit 51,000, what I'm saying is I'm in a different place than Peter Brandt in saying if something bad happens, where are we going down to? Yeah. I see major support at 51K. He sees major support at 46K being the next levels. We'll have to continue to monitor this over the next couple of weeks to see if it happens or not. I'll tell you this, I will be buying at 51 because there will be millions of others buying at 51 as well. And then you match this with some other things we have going on. Let's break down Arthur Hayes.
Yep.
Arthur Hayes is coming in here and saying, I used to say I think we'd range and maybe hit 50K, but if this really bad thing happens, then I think there's a chance we go to 40K. Well, if you read the article, what was the bad thing he's talking about? He predicted that these job numbers would not be good, right? So this morning we were prepping the show. I'm sitting here. I found the article. I'm reading through it. I'm saying, all right, let's watch this, Arthur. If these job numbers come out and unemployment is very high, if non-farm payroll is extremely low, then Arthur Hayes might be onto something, right? But it's not. And this is what I like about it. And people need to understand, anyone's going to say Arthur Hayes is wrong. Arthur Hayes isn't wrong. Arthur Hayes used an if-then statement for a prediction, and these are very important. And the statement is, if these job numbers are poor, then Bitcoin could crash all the way to 40K. But because the job numbers were not poor, whether they're real data numbers or not, whether they're lying to us about them or not, these job numbers were good. Therefore, his prediction is thrown out. So we can just go ahead and wipe that one off. And then you come into the positivity now with Michael Van de Poppe. Michael Van de Poppe, I think, actually is a great framework for saying that we should be bullish. And it's just very classic logical thinking. We didn't cover this earlier. I don't know why we didn't say this. It's on the thumbnail. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index this morning is sitting at 22. The last time we were that low was when? August 8th, back as we were recovering from that big August dip. My point here, though, is that we are back in extreme fear. The retail market is freaking out. Retail is even capitulating. Retail is looking at articles like what Peter Brandt says and Arthur Hayes says, and they don't understand how to actually break down what these gentlemen are saying. But the person who wrote it wrote a very catchy headline that inflicts fear and concern into every holder, and they're tempted to sell. When do the whales and institutions buy? When do the experienced traders and long-term holders know it's time to buy Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency? They buy when there's blood in the streets and extreme fear in the hearts of every retail investor. There's almost a level of saying, like, you know what? This is the perfect time to be scooping up more Bitcoin because everyone else seems to be wanting to sell it. When everyone's on the hype train, you're not going to make some great purchases. You're not going to have great gains. The best historical buying opportunities are when we hit extreme fear, when retail seems to be going down, when the articles that are flooding the internet are bearish or negative opinion pieces. And that's really key here. I love Peter Brandt and I love Arthur Hayes and I respect them heavily, but they are just men. They don't control the Bitcoin market. They were giving their opinions on their private platforms, and somebody out there who's been told what articles to write about and catch some headlines and make some money based off these, they says this would be a very juicy bearish headline that people will gobble up and it'll affect their day-to-day lives. But a lot of times that's actually a mark of being bullish. And I showed you earlier, even though I think we can go a little bit lower, we are close on that 4-hour chart to breaking bullish. And when that 4-hour chart goes bullish, it's only a matter of time before it trickles up into the daily chart. The daily chart's the one I'm watching. I will feel much more confident when I get my next buy signal on the daily chart. Let's get the 4-hour first, then the 8-hour, then the 12-hour. But we're getting there. We are getting close. And I still believe September 18th, Jerome Powell will come out and he will tell us about rate cuts. I still think it's 25 basis points. I still think that's very, very bullish. Yep. And I think September ends with a bang in a bullish candle.
Yep, absolutely. One more thing to consider here is something that I've been holding pretty close to as an analyst, is that I do think that these United States elections are a big catalyst, and it's a large part of why we're moving sideways, why Bitcoin hasn't broken to the upside, which usually at this phase in the bull market, it would have done that by now. Right now, this is the current state of affairs as it comes to the U.S. elections. You can deduce by yourself what that is. This is a change kind of from the past, though. This individual here taking quite a lead as this other individual over here kind of losing points. So this is actually the biggest spread that I've seen between the two U.S. Candidates.
Well, there was a bigger spread. Kamala actually here a couple weeks ago had a massive spread. I think it was nine. I think it took up to 10 points. I think at one point.
I didn't see that.
I think at one point it was on the poly markets it was 10 points. Yeah. And depending on what poll you look at, there's all things. Polls go all over the place. We're not here to actually try to say this means anything at the moment, but it could spark. It could spark some positivity. Yeah. Let's get out of this conversation though by ending it like this. I want to go back to this. We said this yesterday. And I think it's good if anyone wasn't listening yesterday. We have over 600 people watching today. Oh, pushing almost 700. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Smash the like, hit subscribe. I know there's a big movement right now on both sides of the aisle to try to say if the opposite side wins, the world's over. I want to encourage you guys. That's not the case.
Yeah.
I know it feels that way, but that's not the case, right? I think that there's potentially pros and cons to both of them. As a whole, I think there's one side that has a little more pros in my personal opinion, but it's tough everybody person. But let's just throw on the side of what the assumption is. The overall assumption is Donald Trump is positive, Kamala Harris is negative, and that's not necessarily true. Kamala is now, we've gotten in recent days, she's accepting crypto for donations. Do with that what you will, but guys, it's positive. This is another one. I'm interested how people are going to respond to XRP, but another news headline this morning.
Yep.
XRP co-founder is now endorsing Kamala Harris.
Right.
Well, he might have a lot of personal views in his life that he likes Kamala Harris, but at the end of the day, he is a figure in the crypto space, and he is supporting Kamala Harris. I am of the personal opinion Bitcoin will do just fine, no matter who the next president of the United States is. There are certain altcoins that will do just fine, no matter who the next president of the United States is. There's others I do think that it's whose president has more of an impact on if they go parabolic or not. Yep. With that said, though, it is not the end of the world if the person you don't want to be president ends up getting elected.
Right.
That is something that's just not true.
Yep. Yes. The important thing to remember, too, and I tweet this out a lot, is people are more important than politics. If you're getting into arguments with your neighbor, if you're getting into your arguments with people at church or in your communities, just be wrong. right? Just allow yourself to just be the bigger person and just say, you know what, it's okay. I value you and your relationship with me more than I value being right in a political argument. Look, the reality is whatever's going on in Washington, all those Richmond, north of Richmond, is way more complicated than we understand, right?
Yeah.
So the chances that you are right, the chances that we're right in our political views, is probably lower than you're thinking.
And here's another good way to put it. No matter who the president is, you're still going to be here. You're going to find a way to put food on the table and have a roof over your house. But there's also going to be areas of your life that really suck. And things aren't going to get cheap. No matter who's president, things aren't going to get cheaper. That's inflation. The way inflation works is things are always getting more expensive, never getting cheaper, right? So there's going to be good and bad on both sides. Let's go ahead and end that. Let's transition here into some other things.
Yeah, there was a good question here in chat.
Yeah.
It said, do you have an annual rate for your VIP memberships? I want to become a member, but rather have just one yearly payment instead of monthly payments. Thanks, Tim. Do we have an annual payment option?
Well, you know what, actually, now that I'm saying it, do we?
We do.
Okay. Well, we were making some transitions. You guys know October 1st, because of the high demand and different things we want to do, prices are rising. So I do encourage everybody, if you're on the fence of getting into the membership, you got about 3 weeks to get some discounted prices. After that, prices will go up for who gets what and everything. And I know the newer option, I think it's one of those things I think we will always have an option in a way for them to buy the whole year. There will be one form of payment that it only works month to month. That's why it's sending me a little bit of confusion here. But yes, I think we still have a good option at the moment, and it should stay around for a yearly purchase.
Yeah, Tim, if I were to answer that question, I would say, yes, we have an annual option, and which if you'd like to get a membership in the Discord with us, go deeper, the chat never ends, go ahead and sign up here. The Brolux memberships link is right here. You can also sign up for free just to check it out if you're new to Discord. We recommend setting up the free one as well.
They just put me on camera. They don't tell me things.
That's right. That's right. Producers, is he doing a good job? Smash the like. Smash the like if he's doing a good job. But we're having fun. Thank you so much, Guiela26, for asking that question. Yes, we do have the annual option. So thank you so much for asking that and for joining. And let us know in the Discord. And let us know in the comments. Do you have you made money off of some of the chatter that's occurred there in the Discord, whether it be for Tim and I or some of the other analysts that are in there? Let us know.
K-Jam says, I only trust my banks to hold my wealth and charge me to keep it super, super safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Smart.
That's very, very true. Yeah, a quick note on that, if anyone's new here. When I first got into crypto here like 4 years ago, I remember it was great advice, and this advice is still great. It's just I'm going to make a joke about it. The advice is, when you get into investing, do not invest a single dime you cannot afford to lose. In fact, imagine whatever money you're investing, you're taking it into your backyard, you're putting it into a metal trash can, and you're lighting it on fire. You may never see it again. So it's like, let's say it was like $1,000. That $1,000 might turn into $100,000, or it might turn into zero. You need to be prepared for both options, right? It's good advice, because the minute you're investing money that you can't afford to lose, your stress levels, your anxiety, your sleepless nights, everything else, it just goes through the roof. So it's great advice, and I encourage you guys to think that way. The problem is, we now live in a world where I would give the exact same advice to anyone who's holding money in a savings account at a bank. Do not have a single dollar in that savings account that you cannot afford to lose, because guess what? You could lose it.
Yep.
So there's our joke advice of the day, even though we're not financial advisors. So that's not financial advice, everybody.
It's awesome advice.
Yeah.
It's scientific advice.
It's awesome. I like that. It's awesome advice.
Yeah.
Not financial.
Yeah.
What do we have?
Holistic advice.
What do we have here in chat?
Yeah, well, Jupiter said, or Junior said that he got laid off.
Oh, no.
He's asking, do you guys need workers? We could. Send us an email. Go to our bio on YouTube and send us an email. Let us know your skill set. Yeah.
I'll tell you this, and even if there's not something in the terms of working with the investing bros, or even, there's a chance. I know a lot of people in the crypto space. If you want to work in the crypto world, and you have a skill set that would add to somebody's channel. I know a lot of people. I can do some great connections, but I also know a lot of people that are not in the crypto world. Our community is filled with a lot of people. That's what I really love our community. We have some amazing people. We have some entrepreneurs, business owners, senior managers. This is a family, the Investing Bros. If you have not gotten into our Discord and been a part of the group, you need to, because again, we treat everyone as a family. Let us know if anybody is ever in need of things. I'm not saying that I have $1 billion in my back pocket that I can just dish out money, and I'm not saying I have 27 jobs we're just ready to throw out there. I don't have those things. But we know people and we have connections, and it's not just like we want to pray for you. I mean, if you guys need prayer, we want to pray for you. But I don't want to just pray for you. If you guys have a need, I want to try to find a way to exhaust our resources as best I can to help you guys, because we are all here to support each other, to grow. Yes, I'm responsible for my family. T-Shireen's responsible for his family. You guys are responsible for your families, but I don't want to just succeed myself. I want to see all of you succeed as well.
Yep.
So please reach out if you guys ever need anything. I can't promise anything, but
yeah.
I can promise that we will try our very darndest to help you out the best way we can.
So, Lutely, if you can't get enough of this type of analysis and this type of chat, the fun doesn't end. You can go into the Discord and set it all up. Usually, we are live at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and guess what? We're going to be live again today at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Discord. Crux is going to be going live, and then we'll be live, our regular scheduled programming on Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then again on Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, bros, so much for bearing with us this week. We had a kind of crazy schedule, shifting the entire show to the morning for the market open. So thanks for bearing with us. I know that may have been inconvenient for some of you all.
Robert Young saying, bring back the afternoon streams. Absolutely, Robert.
They're coming
back.
They are coming back.
Just this week we had to make a little bit of a change for our schedules, but look forward. There's going to be some other changes coming. One of the cool things about this trip out here is it's really helped T-Shreem and I kind of get outside of our day-to-day way of thinking, think outside the box. Content will be coming very, very similarly to you and also very different. What I mean by that is you'll still get daily content. We'll still do a lot of things. We still want to explore what morning shows could look like. Is it every day? Is it once a week? Is it twice a week? What do the videos that we're putting out look like? Stay tuned. Stick around. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you smash the like button every single day so it pushes out to more and more and more and more people. And you want to get more involved, again, our free Discord and then our paid memberships is another great way for you guys to pour into yourself and your education to spend more time with us. Last thing I'll say before we go, and I need to start saying this at the beginning of videos because I really want one of our members, T-Shroom, to win $8,000.
Yes.
We have a challenge right now with one of our sponsors, Blofin Exchange. Check out the link down below. But there's a challenge with our community in the month of September if our community trades $60 million worth of volume. So volume is very different than actual dollar amount. If we can get there, one of our lucky winners will win $8,000 cash, the price equivalency of a MacBook computer.
Nope.
Or a
Mac Pro supercomputer.
See, again, they don't tell me things. They just put me in front of camera.
Yeah, and I don't know why they did that, because very few people have use for a Mac Pro. I'll just be honest. I'm a little bit of a tech geek. Yeah. I know.
But it's $8,000.
It's $8,000.
The point is it's $8,000.
Forget about the computer.
And every single time you trade $10,000 of volume, which, by the way, $1,000 on 10x, that's $10,000 of volume, right?
Yep.
So that's how easy that is. You'll get entered into a possibility to win it. We got to get there. I know we're doing well at the moment. I think we're not on pace, so we definitely need more and more people to join this, be trading more often.
We're going to get there.
We'll get there. And then one of you guys can get 8,000. You have till September. Click on the link down below. Register. Even if you already have a Blofin account, register. You only get into it if you register. Please go do that right now. With that said, love you guys. Smash the like on your way out. We'll see you tomorrow in our normal places.
Yes.
At a normal time, 11 a.m. Saturday morning. With that said, see you guys tomorrow.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.